Okay, so listen to this.
Uh-huh.
Today, we're going deep into this world of rare books,
Oh, wait.
hidden monasteries, right? And like a secret that might be more trouble than
Okay.
it's worth. So we're talking about the legend of Shivam, also called
I'm ready.
the Book of the Second Death. Are you with me?
I am totally with you. I love this already.
Right? It's like,
I mean, rare books,
Yeah.
hidden monasteries.
bruh.
This is giving like Indiana Jones vibes already.
Yeah.
I love it.
So this whole thing comes from this YouTube video by Neural Surfer, and
Wow.
they lay out this crazy tale.
Mm-hmm.
So picture this, right? We're
Right.
in this like dusty old bookshop.
I love it.
It's called The Veiled Tome.
Ooh.
The owner is Charlie Daniels, and he like obviously knows his stuff when it
Okay.
comes to rare books.
Yeah.
And in walks this guy.
Okay.
His name is Julian Masters. He's like a big-time
Mm-hmm.
antiquarian book dealer.
Oh, wow.
And he just drops this question.
Okay.
He's like, uh-huh.
Ever heard of Shivam,
Mm-hmm.
the Book of the Second Death?
I would be like, I don't think so.
Right. Tell me more.
Yeah, so Shivam is supposedly
Yeah.
this 17th century Indian text, and it
Mhm.
describes like the secret yogic practice.
Oh, wow.
Like-
It's so interesting.
Yeah, like think Kundalini yoga, where
Okay.
like the whole goal is to achieve this
Right.
heightened state of consciousness.
Yeah.
But get this.
Okay.
It supposedly allows you to die consciously visit the afterlife.
Oh, well, hold on.
Yeah.
Die consciously.
Yeah, and come back with knowledge.
And then come back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Julian says he's tracked this book to one of 3
Okay.
super remote Tibetan monasteries.
Yeah.
But here's the twist.
Yeah, what's the twist?
He claims that people who get too close
Okay.
to the book's secrets either vanish
Mm-hmm.
or, like, even crazier,
Oh,
they just lose their minds.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is a dangerous book. Right. So like
Yeah.
it's not just a rare book. It's like a cursed artifact or something.
No, like, something bad is going to happen
Exactly.
if you get too close.
So of course Charlie's like totally hooked.
Well, yeah.
He teams up with Julian
Okay.
and they head off to Nepal to start this search.
Yeah.
They meet up with their contact, Dorje,
Oh.
and he drops some news that like really throws a wrench in their plans.
Oh, no. What is it?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, it turns out they're not the only ones looking for this book.
Oh,
Dorje tells them about Ellena Price.
okay.
She's this book dealer from Britain.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's Ran Singh,
Okay.
this ruthless dude who used to be a scholar.
Interesting.
And now he just hunts down rare treasures.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they've got some competition.
Yeah, they're both hot on the trail of Shivam.
Right, so it's a race
Yeah.
to find this book.
And Dorje warns them
Okay.
that getting into the monastery, which they believe is called Rongbuk,
Okay.
is going to be way more
Yeah.
than just like waltzing in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They have to prove that they're worthy.
Oh, wow. So it's like a spiritual trial,
Yeah.
not just a treasure hunt.
It's not just about finding the book.
It's like you have to be worthy to
Right.
even get close to it.
Exactly.
So that's fascinating.
Yeah, and to add to the challenge,
Okay.
the journey to Rongbuk is brutal.
Oh, no.
We're talking like
Okay.
treacherous Himalayan treks, complete isolation.
Oh, my
Gosh,
goodness.
a whole 9 yards.
So they're really putting themselves out there for
Yeah.
this book.
Yeah, it really highlights like how far
Yeah.
he's willing to go
yeah.
for this book.
For this book that might not even be real.
Right.
Right.
Even if it seems like they're chasing a myth.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they finally arrive at Rongbuk,
Okay.
and it's like something out of a movie.
Oh, wow.
This monastery is ancient and imposing.
Perched on a cliff, totally isolated from the world.
It sounds incredible.
Yeah, it's like the perfect setting for a
Yeah.
hidden secret.
Totally.
Like-
Like the monastery itself is
Yeah.
guarding the knowledge
Yeah.
that's inside.
Exactly. Oh, I love it.
So they encounter a monk,
Okay.
and he hits them with this message.
Okay, what's the message?
He says,
Uh-huh.
you seek Shivam, but the path to knowledge
Hmm.
is not given freely.
Oh,
Right.
so you have to earn it.
Yeah, he tells them to meditate in the Hall of the Departed,
Okay.
and he promises
Mhm.
that if their hearts are pure,
Oh, wow.
the truth will reveal itself.
So purity of heart.
Yeah.
What do you think that means?
Well, I'm thinking it's about their intentions.
Yeah, right. Could be.
Like, why are they seeking this book?
Yeah, are they doing it for the right reasons?
Right. Or maybe it's about facing their own, like, inner darkness.
Ooh, that's interesting.
before they can handle this powerful knowledge.
Yeah, like maybe they have to confront something within themselves
Yeah,
before they can be trusted.
exactly.
Okay.
So Charlie finds himself alone in this ancient hall.
Okay.
It's surrounded by candlelight.
Uh-huh.
The scent of incense is like filling the air.
Okay.
It's like stepping into another world.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a totally different reality?
The video describes it as like heavy with the weight of history
Well, wow.
and secrets.
Yeah.
It's like the walls themselves are whispering forgotten truths.
That's a great way to put it.
So as Charlie meditates,
Yeah.
hours slip by.
Yeah.
And he falls into this trance. His consciousness seems to expand.
Yeah.
And he starts having these intense, almost surreal visions.
Okay, so he's accessing
Yeah.
deeper levels of consciousness
Right.
through this meditation.
Yeah, and it ties in with the whole idea of the book exploring the line
Right.
between life and death.
Yeah, it's like he's on the edge of something really profound.
And then, boom, he
Right.
finds himself standing at the edge of this massive abyss,
Oh my God.
staring into the void.
Wow.
This voice urges him to cross over
Okay.
to see what's on the other side.
Oh my.
Right.
What do you think that means?
Well,
Right.
that abyss, it could be death itself.
Okay.
Right.
The ultimate unknown.
The ultimate unknown, or like
Yeah.
maybe it's some kind of metaphorical leap of faith.
Right. Like he has to take a chance
Yeah.
and trust in something.
I don't know if I would be ready for that.
Right. It's a big decision.
What would you be feeling in
Yeah.
that moment?
Oh man. I think I would be terrified
Yeah.
and completely fascinated at the same time.
Right.
Like drawn to it, but also scared.
Terrified, but also mesmerized.
Yeah, totally.
And so Charlie hesitates. He knows he's not ready
He's not ready.
to cross that threshold.
Wow.
It's like he senses the danger,
Yeah.
like something terrible could happen. Right.
If he takes that leap.
Like maybe he's not meant to know
Right.
what's on the other side yet.
Yeah, maybe there's some
Yeah.
knowledge that we're just not ready to face.
Right. Maybe it's too much for him right now.
So the big question is, what happens next?
Right. What does he do?
Does he try again?
Hmm.
Does he even find the book?
Yeah. Does he ever get to cross?
Right.
And what about the other people searching for it? Ellena and Ran Singh?
I know.
Like, what are they up to?
It's driving me crazy not knowing what happens next.
I know. We need answers.
I know.
This is a real cliffhanger.
It is. We're left wondering,
Yeah.
did Charlie fail the test?
Yeah.
Or was he just not meant to cross over at that moment?
Right. Maybe he'll get another chance.
Then who knows?
Right.
So many questions.
I know.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder, right? Like, is there ever a right time to face these big mysteries? But while we're left hanging about Charlie, we still have Ellena Price and Ran Singh to think about. Remember them.
Oh, yeah, totally. They're still out there somewhere, probably still on the hunt for this book. What do you think their motivations are? I mean, we know Ran Singh is in it for, like, the treasure, but what about Ellena?
Yeah, a good point. The video never really says what drives her. Like, is she just super curious, like a scholar who has to uncover every secret? Or is there something more personal going on? And maybe she's got some connection to Shivam that we don't know about.
Right. It's like the story wants us to figure it out ourselves, to imagine, like, what those characters are thinking and feeling.
Exactly. And that brings us back to Charlie's experience in the Hall of the Departed. Even though we don't know how it ends, we can still try to figure out what it means.
Totally. So Charlie's there at the edge of this abyss, hesitant to cross. What do you think that abyss symbolizes?
Well, it could be a lot of things.
Mm.
I mean, on one level, it could be death itself, that big unknown that we all face. But it could also be a metaphor for something totally different.
Like what?
Maybe it's like the limits of his understanding, the boundaries of what he knows.
Mm.
Crossing that abyss could mean facing something so huge, so different from everything he thinks he knows, that it could like shatter his whole reality.
That's a really interesting thought. It's almost like the book itself is a test, not just of courage, but of like intellectual and spiritual readiness. Do you think some knowledge is just too dangerous for some people to handle?
That's a question people have been asking forever, haven't they? Like, is ignorance bliss? Or is it better to know even if it's painful or scary?
It's like that saying, be careful what you wish for.
Right. You might just get it.
Exactly. And that makes Charlie's hesitation even more interesting. Maybe it wasn't fear that held him back, but like intuition. A sense that he just wasn't ready for what was on the other side.
Yeah, maybe he knew deep down that he wasn't prepared.
And maybe that's part of what makes this whole story so fascinating. It's not just about finding the book. It's about the internal journey, like confronting our own limits.
Totally. And I think that's something we can all relate to, right? Whether we're looking for a rare book or just trying to understand ourselves and the world a little better, We all have those moments where we hesitate, where we're not sure if we're ready for what's next.
So if we zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture, what do you think this story is trying to tell us about knowledge and the pursuit of truth?
Well, for one thing, I think it's reminding us that knowledge isn't always easy to get. Like it often takes effort, dedication, and even a willingness to face the unknown.
And it's not just about getting information right. It's about what we do with it, how it changes us, and how we choose to share it with others.
Exactly. It's about responsibility. And I think the story also shows how important humility is when we're dealing with things we don't understand.
Mm.
We might think we're ready for something, but there's always a chance we'll find something that challenges everything we thought we knew.
And maybe that's not a bad thing, right? Maybe those moments when we're uncomfortable, when our understanding is challenged, those are actually chances for us to grow and change.
Absolutely. Think about it. If Charlie had crossed that abyss without being ready, who knows what might have happened? Maybe it was his hesitation, his willingness to admit he wasn't ready that actually saved him.
It makes you wonder if the real second death isn't about literally dying, but about letting go of old ways of thinking, those beliefs that keep us from seeing the world in a new way.
That's a really beautiful thought.
Yeah.
And it connects with the idea that this whole journey could be a metaphor for any kind of personal transformation,
Mhm.
like overcoming a fear, seeing things from a new perspective, or just learning something that changes how we see ourselves in the world.
So what do you say we shift gears a bit and talk about the idea of the second death itself? What do you think it actually means?
Well, we've already talked about the metaphorical, meaning the idea of letting go of old ways of thinking. But let's not forget that the book is supposed to be about experiencing death consciously.
Mhm.
What if it's not just metaphorical? What if there's a literal side to this second death?
Okay, now we're getting into some deep stuff. Do you think it's possible to die consciously, to experience death as like a transition instead of an ending?
Well, there are definitely stories of near-death experiences where people say they felt a sense of peace, like they were moving through a tunnel toward a light, or even meeting people who had already died.
That's true. And there are spiritual traditions that talk about the possibility of consciously navigating the afterlife, choosing where you go next based on what you did in this life.
Right. So maybe the second death is about mastering those techniques, about
Mm.
learning to die in a way that lets you keep your consciousness and choose your own path.
That's a mind-blowing idea, and it makes the legend of Shivam even more interesting, doesn't it? It's not just about finding a book, it's about maybe unlocking the secrets of life and death themselves.
Exactly. And that brings us back to whether that kind of knowledge is dangerous. If there are ways to consciously navigate death, would knowing that be too much for us? Would it mess up the natural order of things?
That's a question for the ages, isn't it?
It really is. And it's something we might want to keep thinking about as we explore the mysteries of Shivam and this idea of the second death.
So, as we're talking about all of this, I can't help but think about the danger surrounding this book. Like Julian mentioned, people disappearing or going mad. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a big part of the story, right? It makes you think, is the knowledge itself dangerous? Or is it the people who try to get it that cause the problems?
Yeah, maybe some knowledge is just too much for some people to handle. What if you found out something so big that it blew up your whole reality?
That's an interesting idea. Like staring into that abyss, like Charlie did. Maybe some people just aren't ready for that kind of change in how they see the world.
It reminds me of Ran Singh, the treasure hunter. If anyone's going to approach this book with the wrong reasons, it's got to be him. He's probably not looking to become enlightened, right?
Right. He's probably after power or money or maybe just the excitement of finding it. And that kind of selfish motivation could be really bad, especially when you're dealing with something as powerful as Shivam.
So if we're saying that how you approach this knowledge matters, what about someone like Ellena Price? We never really figured out why she wants the book.
True. We don't know if she's just curious or if there's something more to it. Does she think she deserves this knowledge or is she not thinking about the risks? It's a mystery.
It's like the story is testing us too, don't you think? It makes us look at our own reasons for wanting things. What would W.E. do if we had a chance to find Shivam? Would we be tempted by the secrets, even knowing it could be dangerous?
I think so.
Oh.
And it goes back to what the monk said. The path to knowledge is not given freely. It's not enough to just find the book. You have to prove you're worthy to approach this knowledge with humility and respect.
And maybe that's a lesson for us in real life too, right? It doesn't matter if we're looking for spiritual enlightenment or scientific discoveries or just trying to understand ourselves better. We have to start that journey with a sense of responsibility.
Totally. It's easy to get excited about discovering new things, but we can't forget that knowledge is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It could be used for good or bad, and it's our choice how we use it.
So, listener, as we wrap up this deep dive into the Book of the Second Death, we might not have all the answers.
But we've given you a lot to think about, haven't we?
Yeah, we've explored this rare book, the possible dangers of forbidden knowledge, and what the second death could mean both literally and figuratively.
And maybe, just maybe, this has sparked your own curiosity.
Yeah, maybe it's made you think differently about knowledge, or maybe it's even inspired you to start your own journey of self-discovery.
After all, who knows what mysteries are out there waiting to be discovered, what truths are hidden just beyond what we normally see.
Yeah, the search for knowledge, the desire to understand, that's a journey that never really ends. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and who knows what you'll find.
Exactly. You never know what's out there.